Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. I am Lari Blashari, lecturer at Public Health Department, Zabist. It is our great honor to welcome you all to the dissemination seminar titled A Case Study of Sindh Institute of Child Health and Neonatology SICHN, Transforming Maternal and Child Health in Sindh. On behalf of Zabist University Public Health Department, we are delighted to have our guest of honor, distinguished guests, faculty members, speakers, researchers, students, and all participants with us today. We sincerely thank you for joining us and making this event special with your presence. Today's seminar provides an opportunity to share valuable research findings, exchanging ideas, and strengthen our collective commitment towards inspiring maternal and child health in Sindh. Without further delay, let us begin today's proceedings.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم.
Now I would request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem. To commence today's seminar, we are pleased to invite Dr. Altaf Muqati, Vice President Academics, Zabist University, to deliver the welcome address. Dr. Muqati is a distinguished academician and researcher with over 4 decades of experience in education, engineering, and research. He is a recipient of the HEC Best University Teacher Award and Pakistan Engineering Council's Lifetime Achievement Award, and has also authored several books and research publications. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Altaf Muqati.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Madam Chancellor, Professor Jamal Raza, Executive Director, Sindh Institute of Child Health and Neonatology, Mr. Tahir Hussain Sangi, Secretary Health Department, Dr. Zulfikar Siddiqui, Health Specialist, UNICEF, Madam Nasreen, VP Finance and Development, Madam Shahnaz Wazir Ali, former President, Zabist, Dean Dr. Kashif Ali, Head of Department Dr. Suleiman Otto, faculty and all respected audience, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to this important seminar on the transforming maternal and child health in Sindh, a case study of the Sindh Institute of Child Health and Neonatology. The health of mothers and children is not merely a medical issue, it is fundamental measure of society and social development, equality and strength of our healthcare system. The period from pregnancy through childbirth and the first few years of a child's life is particularly critical. Timely antenatal care, safe delivery, neonatal support, immunization, nutrition, and early health diagnosis can prevent many deaths and lifelong disabilities. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, we have a very high infant mortality rate. The greatest challenges are faced by families living in rural, remote, and low income communities, where access to specialized maternal, neonatal, and pediatric care is limited. The Sindh Institute of Child Health and Neonatology represents an important institutional response to these challenges by developing specialized child health and neonatal services across Sindh. I hope our respected speakers will enlighten these issues in today's seminar. Thanks to Dr. Nida and her team for organizing this wonderful seminar. Thanks once again to all the valuable participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mukati, for your kind words and welcome address. Now we are pleased to invite Dr. Mohammad Suleiman Otto, Head of Department of Public Health at Zabist University and Principal Investigator Case Study of Sindh Institute of Child Health and Neonatology, SICHN, Transforming Maternal and Child Health in Sindh. He will provide an overview of the project, highlighting its objectives, key achievements, and institutional impact. Professor Dr. Mohammad Suleiman Otto is a distinguished public health expert, pulmonologist, researcher, and academician with over 32 years of experience. He has served at leading institutions and has contributed extensively to healthcare, public health, and research. Please join me in warmly welcoming him.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Madam Chancellor, distinguished guests, including Secretary Health, Madam Haq, Dr. Mukati, Zulfikar Sahab, Dr. Jamal Raza. It's my honor and pleasure to share with you the dissemination or the completion of our project, which was conceived quite early by Madam Shehnaz. When I joined in, the first assignment which I was given by Dr. Kashif and Madam Shehnaz was this project. And I was told that they have been trying to really work on Madam Chancellor's idea that the transformation or the good work which has been done by SICHN within the period of almost 3.5 years at that time, now it's becoming 4 years, I suppose, to actually grab the what you call the literary point and the scientific point of what SICHN has been doing and try to look at as an academician from a third party that how we can really perform in that time. What is the progress and what are the perceptions and the impressions of the patients. So what we have actually done had tried to really get all the point of view of the workers who are working in the system, the government, which actually instituted this as an autonomous body. This was a void which was in our health system, because I teach health system, so I know that this part was missing. And I'm really very happy and acknowledge that this initiative was taken on, and we are going to really show you that what we have done it's a mixed method approach. We have actually taken the data which was already available within the system of the SICHN, and we have also gone to the people who are actually using these services through the qualitative survey. So we will be showing you both and we will be going on to give you the points where the things can be improved upon. And the third most important point, which will be coming out of this whole study and effort, will be the research papers. And I'm glad to share with you that one of the papers has already been written, and we are actually sending it to the one of very prestigious journal, inshallah, very soon. So let's start with. So we started with collaboration. The idea was conceived by Zabist University. Then we requested Government of Sindh to support, and they were kind enough to request UNICEF, and they readily agreed to support us financially and technically both. So it's a participation between government, the university, SICHN, and UNICEF. Idea initiated in September 2025. Then the formulation of concept note, and it was sent to government in December, and submission of the proposal in January to the UNICEF. In between, we also signed a MOU between SICHN and the Zabist University. And then we went on to the inception meeting, that was March. So we have completed this within our given time, that is 4 months from March to June. So, great work, team, that you have been able to really achieve the things within the time. The inception, after inception, we had a consultative dialogue at the end of the study, which was again shared by the partners and other developmental people. Along with that, we got the inputs from them. The report was improved. Some things were missing or lacking or not highlighted. We actually included that. So the deliverables were comprehensive institutional case study report, which we have finished, identifying the replicable institutional frameworks. This is a very important point that we have gone into, is learning lessons from the experience of the SICHN, so that we can replicate wherever we want to. If other institution wants this kind of systemic approach within their system, they can really get this report, use that framework. We have used the WHO's 6 building blocks of the health system, so that in future, anybody who wants to really follow the same path, they can really use this. So it's a contribution to the management as such. And we will be actually producing a policy brief for our senior level bureaucrats, our provincial assembly members, and others who can matter and help out in policy briefs. Definitely, Madam Chancellor and the Minister Sahiba is the lead, of course, but definitely other people who matter in policy making will be taken on board on that policy brief, through that policy brief and policy dialogues. So we will be doing dissemination workshop, which we are doing today, and we will be doing consultative dialogue and publications accordingly. So this was the inception report meeting, the pictorial view. Objectives were 2: track SICHN's institutional design, key growth phases, and facility expansion milestones across urban and rural areas, tracking through the WHO building blocks, review the MIS data sets already available, and clinical flow. The objective 2 was policy learnings and scale up, support policy dialogue regarding health governance reform, legislative autonomy, and structural accountability frameworks, synthesize replicable scaling guidelines and models, and inform federal and provincial health policies. Relevant sustainable development goals are there. So I think this will be one of the most important area that we will be able to contribute as a national input from province of Sindh, that we are progressing in the sustainable development goals in one of the areas, certainly. So these are the highlights of that. I think from now onwards, my co-PI, Dr. Nida, will take you onwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Otto, for a comprehensive overview of the SICHN project. Now we would like to invite Dr. Nida Shoaib, Assistant Professor of the Department of Public Health at Zabist University and Project Co-PI, to present the project highlights. Dr. Nida Shoaib is a public health physician specializing in community engagement, health system strengthening, and maternal, child, and adolescent health. Please join me in welcoming her on stage.
Thank you so much. I welcome all my stakeholders, all my partners and well-wishers. So as Dr. Otto has already highlighted the initiation of the project, I would walk you through the detailed methodology and the key findings highlights which were identified through this research case study. And it actually documented and showcased the SICHN whole model and the functionality, how these processes are being built and what models can be further replicated, not just identifying the whole institution, but also taking it further for policies and reforms. So let me walk you through, summarize it quickly, that the methodology that was followed was a mixed method approach, and it had a quantitative and a qualitative component. For the quantitative component, we had, thank you, can you give me 1 minute? Hello. Yes, thank you so much. So the mixed method approach was actually highlighted. Likewise, I said we had two major components. For the quantitative part, a patient satisfactory form was run through the parents and the caretakers to identify their perceptions. We also did a qualitative part to actually see and learn the experiences of our healthcare workers, our leaderships, and their parents and the caretakers. Alongside with these things, we also tried to triangulate the existing data from management information system that was also analyzed to see the key performance indicators. So the data was, likewise I said, triangulated and backed up by our quantitative elements alongside with our qualitative in-depth interviews, KIIs, and focus group discussions. In consensus with SICHN, 8 sites were identified and finalized based on their functionality and operations. From Karachi, we had 4 sites, that is Kurangi head office, and then we had our Azam Basti, Sobraj, JPMC. From Larkana pediatric unit was covered, and we also covered Sakhar site. From Hyderabad areas, we tried to identify Sakhar and Nawab Shah, which is now labeled as Shaheed Benazirabad. So these were our sites. To have our operational convenience, 3 teams were trained. First team was in Karachi that covered the Karachi sites. Second team was in Hyderabad that covered Jamshoro and Shaheed Benazirabad. And last team was from Larkana that covered Sakhar and Larkana region. So in supervision of our head of campuses, this whole study was delivered. The data, our study utilized 5 different tools. These were developed. 4 of them were for qualitative. The interview guides were prepared for clinical staff, doctors, paramedics. We also run our in-depth interviews with administrative teams, coordinators, and management. And then lastly, very important, we had our key informant interviews from our senior leadership and key senior management. Lastly, likewise I said, we had patient satisfactory survey form that was adapted from WHO to understand and identify the systems level from a patient and the caretaker's perspectives. So these were a 2-day workshop that was run in a hybrid model, again training our Hyderabad team and Sakhar team. So, Larkana team. So we wanted to make sure to have a holistic approach. 2 days workshop covered a quantitative as well as the qualitative training. Yes, so now very important aspect of our whole study, what were the key findings? I would like to walk you through, would like to summarize the key findings. As I understand, the qualitative elements are very lengthy. So let me run you through the total number of interviews that were conducted were 26 from all those 8 site plus 1 head office. We are considering that because key informant interviews were taken from them. Along that, we had 210 survey forms as participants. We also had 7 focus group discussions with the caretaker, and the total number of representations from the parents, that was 43. So these were the themes that were identified, but we deliberately aligned them with the WHO 6 building block that were service delivery, health workforce, medical equipment and technology, health financing, leadership and governance, plus health information system. So, likewise, I said I would not go in detail for all the themes and sub-themes that were identified, but they were very important and very relevant, bringing you to the 4 more most important aspects that I would like to discuss over here. Autonomous governance with faster decision making, smooth procurement processes, and acquiring of latest equipment, maintenance, that was highlighted as a positive point. For specialized care close to families like NICU, PICU, availabilities of these intensive care unit was again highlighted, as well as the availability of diagnostics and now surgery is available at few facilities. For the quality system and a digital backbone, infection prevention monitoring, and to top it off, the electronic medical records, their management information system is also well in place, maintaining the quality as well as the accountability. Lastly, this all brings us to the public trust and again raising a demand that is again a very challenge because it has become the patient footstep, they have increased and they're increasing pressure on the health workforce. So yes, the sites are now being more trusted and raising the demand. So I would like to back this whole narrative, this whole analysis by 2 important quotes that was given by our leadership and community. The real backbone of SICHN is our autonomy. The single line budget is crucial. It allows resources to be directed where they are most urgently needed. And secondly, the community, they showed their trust. Doctors here give you hope. They do not just treat the illness, they also take an interest to reassure the mother. So yes, that was very important. If we try to look at the cross-site picture, these are detailed site-wise findings where we overall holistically try to identify that yes, there are intensive care units, advanced technologies, and there are services like medicine, diagnostics, all is available. However, this is bringing a pressure on the system like bed capacity. So few facilities like Larkana and Nawabshah, that is Shahid Benazirabad, are still facing that along with a structured referral mechanism. So that was highlighted. And yes, transportation, accessibility to bring their patients, your child towards the facility is another problem, which will be backed later by our quantitative findings as well. So this is a overall holistic picture. Few sites, they strongly recommended that an emergency coverage is needed, especially in Azam Basti and for Sobraj as well. So they are still in need. However, a very strong maternal care linkages were again identified in Sobraj. They have a very strong maternal and child health care. That was a very positive point. So what are the enablers to make this model functional is again a workforce development with the regular. These things are being carried. So I am not suggesting them, but these were identified as enablers for these models. So there is a regular workforce development. They have hurdles, they have bedside supervision facilities, and their mentoring program is very important and very, it's a hallmark how they are making a structured training and capacity building programs. Further, for technology and digital system, likewise I said, they are maintaining electronic medical records, MI system, and again a proper pharmaceutical systems and processes are placed which are digitalized. Lastly, for referral coordination, An internal referral coordination from one side to other side is very strong, and they are so approachable that they are using their WhatsApp, other means of communication as well, rather than a delayed long-term processes. So this makes a bit accessible and easy for the parents to move their children from one side to another. Right. So I hope you all are with me. Yeah, it's a long story. Okay, moving forward towards our management information system key findings. Like I said, they were existing data sets as well, and we acquired that with the consensus of SICHN. And as we saw, they have grown immensely from 487 employees to 2,418 staff, along with an 82% of annual staff retention, which is again a remarkable that they are maintaining a high level of retention up to 2084. If we look at the infrastructure and capacity of the facilities, the bed occupancy rate was a very important indicator that came out to be 83%, with Karachi going highest, that is 89%. So if we have another very important aspect, that was the medical equipment and overall maintenance of the facilities was reported as 76%, where Hyderabad was leading at 88%. And if we look at the medical equipment functionality, it is above 90%. Their equipments are being maintained very nicely. Right. So there are other indicators as well, but we would be sharing you the detailed report so you can review those data sets as well. Lastly, our quantitative element, that the patient satisfactory survey form was run. And looking at that, we had 25% of our participants from Kurangi side and 26% from Sakar side. So in total, over half of the participants were from these sides based on their functionality. Our respondents' age was 30 years, and if we see the gender, that females were 64% and mothers were the highest percentage, that is 55%, with male childs up to 62%, and there was a high flow from rural areas, that is 67%. Moving towards a very important indicator for socio-economic profile, the education level, you can say over 55% of the surveyed household decision makers had either primary education or no formal education. So this again puts a very strong element for their capacity to understand the situation. And similarly for the employment, 45% of the females were homemakers and they were dependent on an informal earning mechanism. Slow? Okay. So 45% of the employment status, if we try to identify, they were homemakers, that they were unemployed, or we can see they are relying more on the male partners. And if we saw the informal earning mechanism was up to it was up to 45%. So further we can see, look at the household income. This is very startling that 91% of the caregivers, they earn under 50,000 rupees per month. So again highlighting that our majority or the population that is approaching, they are in a vulnerable situation, and SICHN is safeguarding that area. This is actually the mode of transportation. 48% of our participants, they rely on public transport, and almost 35% rely on motorcycles. So again, accessibility and reaching to these facilities is, yes, it's again an economically burdenized expenditure for the families and especially for the parents. Moving towards the one more important thing I would like to highlight, that these three socioeconomic parameters, that is their lack of education, and then we know that their earning capacity is again less than 50%, plus we see their employment informal status is again burdening them overall with their so economic situation. Moving towards the healthcare utilization, now we talk about a bit of services, how they are being maintained. So, department-wise patient recruitment, 34% of the patients were taken from OPD, 29% from general ward, whereas 19% from NICU, to actually gauge the overall variation of the patient. So, we try to inculcate all the departments. So, 45% of the patients, they were first visit, whereas 54% were follow-up visits, which highlights their, again, reliability and trust on the system. So laboratory diagnosis, it was a very positive marker where 80% of the labs are conducted. They are done in a very timely manner, and likewise 90% of the labs are done in-house. They are not requested outside, so a very positive marker. Moving towards the availability of medication, likewise 97% of the medicines are provided by the SICHN, whereas the remaining for specialized are procured. So this is a very important satisfaction scores. We saw that parents are satisfied with the communication of the doctors, the way they explain the situation, the safety and security of the system, cleanliness, and moreover, the whole admission processes, they are satisfied with it. So 94% of the patients, they express their willingness to recommend SICHN services, indicating an exceptional patient satisfaction. And we try to identify reason for choosing. That was their word of mouth and self-decision. And lastly, the reasons for referrals, we try to identify why patients are referred in, are they walked in, and that main reason was to have higher, better clinical services. Lastly, we try to build a framework that can be utilized and that can be applied further for at a policy reforms or making strengthening our health system, where we try to identify the determinants and as well as the core outcomes to have a sustainable financial systems, a good, equitable, accessible service delivery, quality care. So I would skip this and not go in detail. Yes, our study actually commenced at a point of consultative dialogue. That this was held before the dissemination seminar to bring all the key stakeholders on one table and to actually present our findings as well as to take the approval for the report. The outcome of this whole consultative dialogue was that we will be taking this study to a next phase where we will be covering all the other facilities that were not included in our first phase. As SICHN is growing exponentially, so this has been proposed. Further, we'll be also submitting and going forward with publications of the study. Last closing message. Protect the model before scaling the model. Our study has brought this to one point that what to defend is autonomy, free care, quality practices, public trust. What to fix is beds, staff, the referral mechanism, transportation system. And what to avoid is unplanned growth that weakens the reliability and quality of care. Thank you so much for bearing me. This was a very long presentation. I thank to all our SICHN focal persons and partners. It was just a few clips of our activities that were done. This is our team, our PI, Dr. Otho, me, Dr. Sana, research coordinator, our research associate, Kazim, our research interns, two students, Mubashra and Akil, and last but not the least, Dr. Zahida, who's the head of campus Larkana for her supervision, Mr. Jawad Sahab, who's again supervisor, associate professor, head of campus Hyderabad, and Dr. Talib Lashari as a technical advisor providing us support throughout the system. I thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Nida, for sharing these important highlights in detail. So we now come to a special moment in our program. It is our distinct honor and privilege to welcome our esteemed guest of honor, Madam Dr. Azra Fazal Pechuho, Minister for Health and Population Welfare, Government of Sindh and Chair of the Sindh FP 2030 Working Group. A member of the Sindh Provincial Assembly since 2018, Dr. Pechuho has provided distinguished leadership in advancing healthcare across the province. Under her leadership, Sindh strengthened its preparedness and response to the COVID-19 pandemic, while significant progress was made in women's and child health care, emergency and trauma services, pediatric care, infectious diseases management, rehabilitation, and universal health care. Her vision and leadership have contributed significantly to shaping the health landscape of Sindh and strengthening access to healthcare for its people. Madam Minister, we are deeply honored by your presence with us today. May I now respectfully invite you to share your remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'll take you through a journey of where pediatrics was and now where we are at this moment. So when I first started my pediatrics internship, we in civil hospital, we had a 3-bed nursery where all the children who were born were put in, with those who really needed care. No NICU, no PICU, no neonatal intensive care, no pediatric intensive care. We had an emergency, which was by direct referral from the downstairs OPD, say, or from a emergency, say, directly. But the children used to come into the pediatric unit, and there was a room where it was the most messy room that you've ever seen, with children lying all over the place. We struggling to put in IV cannulas and IV drips into the children. And because most of them were gastroenterology wale patients, aate the gastritis with diarrhea and vomiting and things like that. So ye halat thi, no pediatric surgery. No, only pediatric medicine was established in civil hospital. And that was the case scenario for all major tertiary hospitals in the whole of Sindh. So I think it was also the same for the whole of Pakistan. Pediatrics was one of the most neglected, I think, field, and we weren't bothered about our children, their health, and we lost loads of children to infection. Immunization was started, EPI was there, but obviously limited number of vaccines were given, and vaccination was not as freely available as is now. So ये बहुत सारी चीजें थी which determined that our neonatal death rate was rising, our pediatric death rate was rising. Most of the children were coming in with infections, and we were struggling to transform the system, but obviously as mere interns and doctors over there, we couldn't do anything. It is the guidance and the governance that is very important. The buy-in of the parliamentarians, the buy-in of the ministers, the buy-in of the government itself is very, very critical to seeing that a sea change occurs. And that's where we have seen it now. NICH was the only hospital which catered for exclusively for pediatrics, and every bed till now also has 3 or 4 children per bed. And these are large beds, which are the adult beds. They don't have cots as such, because obviously if we have 3 children, we can't have them in cots. And they're lying on those big, large beds. There is a small nursery there as well in NICH. Dr. Jamal Raza was serving as the executive director of NICH at that time when I joined as a minister for health. And when I looked at the facilities in NICH, I was shocked. There was even an outbreak of fire in the nursery, where children had to be evacuated, babies had to be evacuated quickly from the NICH. And it is a really pathetic situation. But now, with this input that we have put in, we have 4 units in Karachi, Azim Basti, we have Kurangi was the first unit that we established. Then we established one in Azim Basti, then we did it in Sobraj Hospital, and then JPMC as well. And now we are going into a 5th one in the north of Karachi. So really speaking, we need to spread it as much as possible. Karachi being a huge about 28 million की या से ज़्यादा की population है, or we need really many more services availability. As you saw, the bed strength doesn't serve. There are a lot of patients who have to wait because incubators available नहीं होते हैं, and then obviously they die, the babies die, and ventilators available nahi hote, babies die. So really speaking, we need to spread it out again. Then there was then the other place that we established was in Sakkar, and this was it was a new hospital that was built. And obviously, I said, and Jamal Raza has to take it over, so he took it over and established the NICU Piku there, and pediatric unit there. The third unit that we established was in Jamshoro, and third unit was in Benazirabad, fourth unit in Jamshoro, and fifth unit in Larkana. So within that area, we have covered north and central Sindh, and we have covered obviously south Sindh with Karachi and Jamshoro. So really speaking, every district needs a NICU PICU, almost. Because what's the problem again is our perinatal care is not very good. Our neonatal children are born underweight, they are born premature, and the babies really need special care. और इससे ज़्यादा भी जो problem अभी आ रही है, we are going to see a further increase in these babies because of the climate change and the heat, that intensive heat waves that are coming. Stressed out women who are pregnant, and obviously they're going to give birth to preterm and underweight babies. So this is one of the critical areas that we have seen. And this other critical area we've seen is the lack of breastfeeding. I'm sorry to say कि हमने formula milk को इतनी अहमियत दे दी है कि every woman, even from the lowest income group, they're dependent on the formula milk, and वो substandard formula powders use करते हैं, and obviously contaminated waters use करते हैं, unsterilized bottles use करते हैं, and then the children are suffering because of that. Immunization still has to be strengthened. हमारी जो है immunization rate is still at 58% or so. We have to bring it up to 100%. Now at least 99% तक तो आ जाए. लेकिन accessibility, as was spoken about, these people are earning only 50,000 or less than 50,000 per and even more so is the fact that they have to depend on public transport, which is very unreliable. And if they have their own motorbike or something to come to the hospital, it's the fuel costs are rising, so obviously it makes it difficult for them to spend out-of-pocket money for transport. So yes, we need to increase our ambulance services. We need our ambulances to be there for them. Sometimes the children are so critical, we can't transport them in our ambulances. Even though we have transport incubators, we can't transport them in our ambulances. Abhi bhi triplets पैदा हुए थे जिन्ना में quite recently, I think last month or maybe a month before that, and we couldn't transport them to our NICU PICU because they were obviously they were ventilator dependent and we couldn't transport them. So really speaking, we have to see methods, and we have to increase and look at the transport system, which was also established in your the work that you do, the case study that you did. There is one thing that is missing from this case study. I think we should study what was and what is now, because it has made a difference. Outcomes were not, outcomes qualitative, ye the, but what about the quantitative outcomes? How many children did we save? How many children who would have died are now saved because of this intervention? How many children are still not being saved because we do not have enough ventilators, we do not have enough incubators for them? We had an outbreak of monkeypox in Khairpur. Khairpur, obviously, we don't have a unit there. So Khairpur, we had a monkeypox outbreak in the nursery. Incubator was contaminated. Children, with the first index child who came in with monkeypox, and he was put in the incubator. The incubator was not sterilized properly after the child was died over there. Sorry, unfortunately, he died there. And the other children were put in, healthy, children who didn't have monkeypox, and then they also succumbed to monkeypox, and we had 9 deaths or something of children. So this is the kind of health system that we have. And I agree, autonomy is very important. But accountability with autonomy is very important as well. Obviously, we give them all the money they want. We are strapped for funds. Every government says there's a financial crunch. But at the same time, autonomy with accountability is very, very critical for us. And this kind of case study is very, very important for us because it shows this also is a case for accountability. So accountability through case studies is very important as well. But on the whole, the accountability should continue throughout the years that are ahead that we are going to face with children needing to be done. Now there's a big pressure everywhere because now people have become understand that there's ventilator support idhar incubators hai, the care that is given is better than anywhere else. So now what has happened is we have a lot of pressure, which I know with regret and I know Jamal Raza knows about it also. One child died because we didn't have the ventilator to give him, give that child the ventilator. And the father is so fiery, he keeps denigrating our system, saying that, your system is not working. My child died. I mean, I understand, I can sympathize with his loss, but the problem is we are also constrained by the number of incubators, ventilators, the amount of money that we can spend on children. And because this care is very, very expensive. 1.5 lakh rupees se per day in a private institution. Here we are doing it free of cost for every child, irrespective of whether they have money or they don't have money. Even affluent people bring their children here because they have no other alternative. The care for intensive care is either very, very expensive. Aga Khan Hospital is very, very expensive. So they cannot afford the neonatal care there, so they bring them to us. And even the affluent people find it very, very expensive. You see, if you're going to pay lakh, sawa lakh, 1.5 lakh rupees per day, it is no joke for a child who's going to be there for 2-3 months maybe, who's a preemie who will be there for a longer time. So really speaking, I would like a before and after study. And I would like to also say that I really congratulate the whole team, Professor Odo and everyone, for all the hard work. Whatever work you all have done is excellent. I think you have given us a framework for expansion. Obviously, I agree that too rapid and too unplanned an expansion doesn't serve the purpose. But we are looking at it very, very carefully. Unfortunately, मेरे पास क्या होता है, pressure आ रहा होता है. Jamal also knows the pressure comes to him also. The MPAs, every MPA wants a Niku Piku in their district. So because obviously this is a selling point for them in the elections as well. So they want a Niku Piku in their district. We can't do it with every district. The most major point of strength of this program was that they are training paramedics, they are training doctors in intensive care, which was not present in NICH में थोड़ा बहुत होता था, लेकिन the amount of and surgery maybe, pediatric surgery maybe they're training. So all these facilities are there to increase the human resource, which is really, really critical because they are very technical human resource, very skilled human resource that is needed. And if we have to spread, we need this human resource. We can't spread it without looking at creating the human resource to further our expansion. So वो बहुत critical है हमारे लिए. And obviously, I hope that this works, and I'm sure it works. And this is Dr. Jamal Raza, all your team that have done the research work are to be congratulated on doing an excellent job. And I think that this is we should take it further, and we should do further studies on what is happening. We are now having satellite centers as well. जो satellite centers हैं, उसमें obviously we not have Niku Pikus as such, but we have our cameras and which are looking at this thing. थोड़ी देर the other which में मैं एक link भूल गई बताना was the Child Life Foundation that was established about 10-15 years back, and उसमें that was that they would take care of the emergency, and instead of the emergency patients the children going directly to the ward, they used to go to this center, and then they used to put in a drip, start the antibiotics, etc. वो जो link है ना वो with the referral to the pediatric unit is very weak. I think that referral has to be strengthened also. The Child Life Foundation का जो referral है to pediatric unit or to Niku Piku, that's very weak. हालांकि कोरंगी में there's a Child Life Foundation unit, and we have the Niku Piku there in the same premises. And what has happened was, I have heard of children being discharged from Child Life Foundation without being referred to the Niku Piku when they needed the care, because Child Life Foundation doesn't work 24/7. It works in the daytime, and then they close doors like it's an emergency. So really speaking, we need that referral to be strengthened, and I think Jamal Raza should work on it and get that referral centered. I know you have some reservations, but well, we have to do that. And as was also said, the referral from other hospitals also, we have to strengthen that. I think now people are becoming more and more aware of this facility. So the more people are aware, the more pressure on us to have taken those children. So thank you very much for being here today. And I made a long speech on what has happened and what will be done in the future. I hope we are able to carry this on forward. And the plan is that almost every divisional headquarters and then the districts itself should also be serviced. The service availability is very, very critical for us because children are dying everywhere and anywhere. So we really need to make life comfortable for parents and see when the parents come to us and they have lost all hope for their child who is really, really severely ill, then it breaks hearts. And really, we have to do as much as we possibly can. Thank you very much for being here today. And thank you for my long spiel. I hope you'll listen patiently to it. Thank you.
For your inspiring remarks and for your continued leadership and commitment in advancing healthcare in Sindh. Now it is our honor to invite Mr. Tahir Hussain Sangi, Secretary of Health Department Sindh, who will be speaking on governance pathways for policy level significance of the study. He brings extensive experience in public administration and strategic governance, having served as Commissioner of Larkana Division, Director Health, Director General of Karachi Development Authority, and Special Secretary in the Health Department. Please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it's a great moment here. And I can recall when I joined in February 2026, and I had, in the very first instance, meeting with Madam Shehnaz on the directions of the Minister, Health, regarding talking to UNICEF for financing this whole study. And it was indeed a whole process, and we talked to the UNICEF authorities, and they were very kind enough to earmark some funds for the study. And then how Ms. Shehnaz pursued the case, it's really great. Indeed, SICHN has been a hallmark in mother and child health across the province, and it has been, the Minister pointed out very rightly, that the priority of the government, particularly the provincial government, to take care of mothers and children across the province, and SICHN is one step forward in this regard. And this study would, in the long run, help the health department as well to understand the areas how this child health network can be propagated across the province, and what are the areas where we need to focus more. And as pointed out rightly in the very beginning of this presentation, that autonomy is a hallmark of the success of SICHN. So Sindh government is very much focusing on giving more powers and autonomy to various institutes, including SICHN and other institutes as well. And I would recall that more than 150 billion rupees are given as a single line grant to various institutes which work in government of Sindh in cardiology and thalassemia and other areas. So indeed, this launching would help not only SICHN but also health department to move further, and we wish them success to SICHN under the leadership of Madam Minister and Dr. Jamal. Thank you.
Now, before we proceed, I would request our VPs, Madam Nasreen Haq and Professor Mukati, to present the shields to Dr. Azraf, Madam Azraf Fazal Pechu, and Mr. Tahir. Can I please request the entire research team on the stage for a picture? Now it is my privilege to invite Professor Saeed Jamal Raza, Executive Director of the Sindh Institute of Child Health and Neonatology, SICHN, to share the institutional perspective of SICHN. He is a distinguished pediatrician, academician, and researcher. Everyone, please join me in warmly welcome Professor Saeed Jamal Raza.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. I'm very honored to be here, and thank you, Madam Shehnaz, first of all, for starting the whole thing, Sulaiman Saab for conducting our research, Mukati Saab, and all the distinguished people that are involved in the study. ये बेहतर तो ये जो सिलसिला था वो कहते हैं आसमानों पर नजर रख अंजुमों महताब देख सुबह की बुनियाद रखनी हो तो पहले ख्वाब देख तो ये ख्वाब था this was a dream that we had together with the Ministry of Health that we should provide quality health care at the doorstep for every child free of cost. So that's what we started. I mean, Dr. Azra has just mentioned that I was at NICH and things were difficult. I was at NICH for 32 years and the last 10 years as a director, and we had our challenges. We had problems and we learned from those challenges, and that's how when we started this project, we removed all the obstacles that we could see while I was working at NICH so that we can flourish, and we have flourished. So one of the problems that we face that you have also pointed out was the single line budget, and I think that's a great help in managing things that we want to manage, procuring things that we want to procure, and be able to establish. The other two things that I have seen, and I wished Madam was here also so that we could have pointed it out to her, that we have a slightly different mechanism from the government setup, which is a market-based salary, so that we can attract the best of the best individuals, especially high-quality professionals, to be able to deliver the high-quality work, and 100% contractual employment. Because Sindh ka, जो सरकार का जो पक्की नौकरी का जो concept है, that is a very bad concept, because then you are unable to throw out anybody who is not working, and so on and so forth. So those were the two mechanisms that we adapted based on the experience that I had at NICH, and you have seen that in less than 4 years' time, we started our first hospital in August 2022, and now we are sitting in July, so another month to go, and we have from one hospital, we have gone to 13 hospitals. Some of them have been mentioned by the Minister Sahiba, but we have now gone further and gone further from where you have studied. So we have started the Shahdatpur, we have started the Mirpur Mathilo, we have started the Kambar Shadat Court. In next month, we are going to start Sujawal and Mirpur Khas. So, it's a phenomenal progress in less than 4 years' time. And Alhamdulillah, we are very pleased that it was not just us that are working in isolation. Your research and your finding has endorsed, and a very positive endorsement, that what we are doing is also providing the end result that we are looking for. So it's not just in terms of the spending money or getting the high-tech equipment. We wanted the best of the outcome, and you have not looked at the outcome, but we have looked at our outcomes, and it is as good as any private hospital. So 84% survival in our newborn care, 99% survival in pediatric surgery, 85% survival in PICU. So that is as good as you can get. But still, there is a long way to go. वो कहते हैं कि अभी गिरानी ये शब में कभी नहीं आई, निजात दी दो दिल की घड़ी नहीं आई, चले चलो कि वो मंजिल अभी नहीं आई. So we still have a long way to go, but Alhamdulillah, we have laid the foundation. We have laid down the first step, and I think that is important. That it was important to establish an institution which provides services through the network, saving lives, and has developed a system which we hope will sustain, because now the bigger challenge would be the sustainability of the product that the services that we are providing. So that's what I wanted to say. वो कहते हैं कि फिर इश्क ही खुद रह रो, फिर इश्क ही खुद मंजिल, फिर इश्क ही खुद रह रो, फिर इश्क ही खुद मंजिल, इस राह में मुश्किल है बस पहला कदम रखना. So we laid down the first step. Alhamdulillah, we'll hope and pray that we will continue to serve and continue to deliver. There are many more areas to cover, but hopefully we have now embarked on this journey, and we will continue to be on this journey. Thank you once again to UNICEF for giving out the money for this study. And thank you very much for carrying out this study, because it's very reassuring when a complete third party, we did not influence you at all, but when you come up with a finding that support us and endorses what we are doing, then it's very reassuring. We hope that this will be published in a good place or a journal, because that's where it counts. Unless you publish, it is not really of value. So thank you once again. I'll just thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jamal Raza, for sharing your valuable insights and the remarkable vision of SICHN. Our next session focuses on the role of development partners. We are pleased to invite Dr. Zulfikar Siddiqui, Health Specialist, UNICEF Pakistan, to share his valuable perspective. Dr. Zulfikar Ahmed is a senior public health specialist with over 20 years of national and international experience in public health, health systems, strengthening emergency response and program management. We're honored to have him with us today. Please welcome Dr. Zulfikar.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respected Madam Shehnaz Waziri Sahaba, Dr. Altaf Muqati, VP, Academics, Zabist University, Professor Jamal Saab, Dr. Saab, Otto Saab, thank you, sir. Healthcare professionals, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It's an honor to join you today to discuss one of the most important investments any society can make: the health and survival of mothers and newborns. Every mother deserves a safe pregnancy and childbirth, and every newborn deserves an opportunity not only to survive but to thrive. Despite notable progress made over the last decade, maternal newborn mortality remains a significant public health concern and a challenge, specifically in Sindh. preventable complications during pregnancies, childbirth, and for the first month of life continues to claim too many lives. These deaths are not inevitable. They are preventable through timely access to quality healthcare, skilled birth attendants, emergency obstetric and newborn care, and strong referral systems. Development partners have played a pivotal role in supporting the Government of Sindh to strengthen maternal and newborn health services. Together, we have contributed to expanding immunization, improving maternal and child nutrition. However, the challenges before us require that we move beyond the fragmented interventions towards a more integrated and sustainable approach. UNICEF believes that investment in mother and newborn health is not merely a sector priority. It is an investment in human capital, economic development, and the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals. Every dollar invested in maternal and newborn care generates substantial returns through improved productivity, reduced healthcare cost, and healthier communities. Ladies and gentlemen, partnerships remain our greatest strengths. No single institution can address maternal and newborn maternal mortality alone. Governments, development partners, donors, academia, professional associations, civil society, and most importantly, the communities, each bring unique expertise and resources. By aligning our investments with provincial priorities, reducing duplications, and promoting joint accountability, we can maximize our collective efforts. UNICEF remains fully committed to supporting the Government of Sindh in advocating equitable access to quality maternal and newborn health care. Let us reaffirm our collective commitments to ensuring that no woman dies while giving life, and no newborn loses the chance to celebrate a first birthday because quality care was unavailable. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zulfikar, for the insights. We now come to the final address of today's seminar. It is our distinct privilege to welcome Madam Shehnaz Wazir Ali, former president of Zabist University, to deliver the closing remarks. With over 40 years of experience as an educator and specialist in social sector development policy, Madam Shehnaz Wazir Ali has made significant contributions to public health, social policy, education, and women's rights. She has played an instrumental role in serving important policy initiatives, including the Chief Minister of Sindh's Task Force on Polio and the Sindh FP 2030 Working Group, and currently serves as a Vice Chair of the Social Policy Development Center in Karachi. Her exceptional leadership and long-standing commitment to public health and social development have been a source of immense value and inspiration, particularly in the Department of Public Health at Zabist University. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Madam Shehnaz Wazir Ali with a warm round of applause.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's an immense pleasure for me to be back here today in this media studio where I've spoken to and participated in a number of Zabist events. And I want to thank Dr. Altaf Mukherjee particularly for the invitation, and Dr. Suleiman Otus, and the entire team, Dr. Nida, Dr. Kashif Ali. And I want to express appreciation, even though I'm no longer the president, but I think Zabist is part of me, and I hope I'm a voluntary part of Zabist from time to time whenever you invite me. I want to particularly thank Professor Jamal Raza Sahab for your immense belief in Zabist. and in the technical capacity and in the academic research, and the competence and the ability to deliver an institutional case study, which I hope will meet some of the highest standards set not only nationally but internationally. Very, very grateful to Dr. Zulfikar Siddiqui from UNICEF for the support that you've provided. And indeed, I think it was a high moment for us to have the Chancellor here today, being the Minister for Health and Population in the Government of Sindh, and one of the ministers who has made significant difference in Sindh in terms of service delivery and improvement of the health sector institutions. So it's a great pleasure for me to join all of you here today. And also it's always wonderful, the immense interest that Madam Nasreen as Vice President Development Finance takes in the growth and the academic development, but in the institutional development of Zabis. So I think this study is placing us on the map, indicating that our public health department has the capacity to work in partnership successfully. Although I know this project got a bit delayed, I think that we were in an in-between stage for a while. But as soon as all the chips were in place, the work progressed and the team has really delivered very well, both a quantitative and qualitative study on a critical area, which is child health and neonatology. The presentation, as Dr. Nida went through it, at bionic speed, I know, because we were short on time and the Chancellor had only given us 1 hour. But I do think that this is a presentation for all those who are present here today, and I'm very pleased to see all the faculty and also some of the MS students from public health here today. And Dr. Yasmin Kazi from Catalyst is also here, who's a top-notch professional. I think that this presentation deserves a longer session where there can be technical experts around the table in a deep dive, as what Yasmin Kazi Sahiba said. Let's do a deep dive into the data, into the quantitative data and the qualitative data. And we would request Dr. Professor Jamal Raza to lead this threadbare discussion on the findings through the study, so we can then take on the next, defining the next possible stage. Because medical research and institutional studies are not just a one-time exercise. They're a long-term investment into looking critically into the institutions that Pakistan establishes. And I think as we all turn back, maybe 8 years from now, 10 years from now, and we look at what was the turning point in child health care and neonatology care. And I think the decision made by the government of Sindh was absolutely fundamental, critical, and I think it was a very brave decision to establish an institution and give it the autonomy, give it a one-line fiscal transfer into their budget, and allow the leadership of SICHN to demonstrate a model of efficiency and accountability. And Professor Dr. Jamal Raza Sahab, you've really shown that in Pakistan, we can do something like this, and we can do it fairly quickly. And you just now also informed us about how you are planning further rapid expansion and going to scale. And going to scale is, of course, one of the most challenging objectives in Pakistan. Good institutions are sometimes established, but going to scale, you cannot compromise quality and service delivery. So indeed, I'm very pleased to be here today. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Dr. Mukati, Dr. Sulmanoto, Dean Kashif Ali, Dr. Nida, and the entire team. And I'm most grateful that I have had the opportunity to see something which we started today come to a very, very important level of development and of presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam, for inspiring and encouraging remarks. We now move to the shield presentation ceremony to honor respected guests for their valuable contributions and gracious presence. May I also request VCs Madam Nasreen Haq, Dr. Mukati, Dean Dr. Kashif, and HOD Dr. Otho, and Madam Shehnaz. So, okay. Professor Saeed Jamal Raza, Dr. Zulfikar Siddiqui, Dr. Rosina, Dr. Zulfikar Siddiqui, Dr. Rosina Feroz Ali, Dr. Shaila Tabassum, Madam Shehnaz Wazir Ali, Professor Muhammad Suleiman Otho, Dr. Nida Shoaib, Dr. Sana Rojani, Mr. Muhammad Kazim Jafri, Dr. Mubashira Afzal, Dr. Muhammad Akil Ahmad, So we would also like to acknowledge the efforts in managing the team at Larkana in Hyderabad, Dr. Zahida Abro and Mr. Jawad Ahmed Khoso, who are the HOC Larkana and HOC Hyderabad respectively. Thank you for your valuable contributions. They're not here with us today, and we would also, but we'll be presenting them the shields. And then we have Dr. Sabah Sheikh. Okay, so Dr. Sabah Sheikh, Dr. Wasim Ahmad, Dr. Amir Kibriya, Mr. Sarfaraz Ali, Dr. Shahid Raza, Mr. Tariq Hussain Sangi, Dr. Kashif Ali, Dr. Shahid Raza, SICHN, Can I please have everyone on the stage for a group photo? Congratulations to all our respected guests. On behalf of Zabist University, we extend our sincere gratitude for your valuable contributions and continued support. We also would specially like to thank Madam Shehnaz Wazir Ali and Dr. Talib Lashari for their technical expertise.